So, funnily enough, I have been getting multiple comments recently, in the last couple of days, even. One gentleman told me he had Grok 3 tell him what year Israel entered the Promised Land. Grok 3 from X, or formerly known as Twitter, the AI like chat bot kind of thing in there. And there was another gentleman today, and one I think probably last week, because this is becoming a thing, and we just go to Google and ask it, and then there's an AI generated overview. It's going to tell you 1406. It's going to. It's going to say that there's an early date and a late date, but most scholars would put, based on 1 Kings 6, 1406 as the entry date into the Promised Land. And while that is a true statement, I would just caution you guys that AI generation, what Grok uses, that's artificial intelligence. All that's going to do is pull an overview of the greatest amount of source material and spit it out at you. The source material online is people like you and me who are writing things, and then it's just going to pull what people have written on there. So simply because Google says this or Grok says this doesn't make it accurate. And that's what I just want to caution people about, is best we can figure it's probably accurate, but all the AI is doing is pulling in source material that human folks like you and me have written. It's all secondary resource material, and that's what I had to disclaim. The disclaimer I gave when I did my research, I said I wasn't there in this date. Best I can approximate based on the biblical count, starting with the year of Solomon's reign, the 4th year of his reign, and then the 480th year after the children of Israel came out of Egypt and they wandered in the desert for 40 years. Like, all of this stuff is secondary research that's available through Google. It's just a website, and we can piece it all together with the biblical counts, but where you're starting from is secondary research that says, we believe based on this date this happened. Okay, but was anyone actually there to verify that, or do we back into it? And so you got a whole bunch of people doing the same thing and saying the same thing, none of whom were there. So I just want to caution people before you get too excited about, oh, Google says this or Grok says this. Yeah, I know, because it's all pulling from the same research that people put online that are using all the same dates to come to the same conclusions. But none of us were there. That's the whole point, is none of us were there. So while we can get excited and say, yeah, it could probably, there's always going to be a level of disclaimer to that, because nobody was there to verify it. And until such a time as you can point me to someone who says, I was there to verify it, that's the whole disclaimer that I operate with, is because I wasn't there, I will simply say, if this, then this, using the biblical counts and everything, as we can arrive at a conclusion based on a starting point, based on biblical derivatives and what historical record and folks have said. I get it. Like, I want to be excited about it too, but it's a tempered excitement because I wasn't there and Grok wasn't there. And the people who are writing the articles that Grok is summarizing weren't there. And so hopefully it's right. I think it probably is, but just temper your expectations, temper your excitement. Simply because AI says something does not make it accurate. So it also matters how you ask AI as to which result you'll get. It's imperfect by a lot, as are the people who wrote the source material it's pulling from were imperfect by a lot. So I would say be cautiously optimistic, be cautiously excited, but still be aware that AI ain't perfect. It's just summarizing all of the stuff that imperfect people have put online and spitting out a result. So I don't want to, sideline anyone's excitement, but I think that it needs to be realistically tempered with what AI actually is. It's just summarizing material that people like you and me wrote. That's all. And if people like you and me were wrong, then what Grok gives you ain't going to be right either. So not saying 1406 isn't correct. It's always if this, then this, and using the best resource material available to get to 1406. But just be aware. Just be cautiously optimistic, but be cautious.